Today, we're diving into a dark chapter of history, one that many corporations would rather you not know about. We're uncovering the top 16 corporations that built their empires on the backs of enslaved Africans. Now, you might be thinking, hold on, slavery was abolished ages ago, right? And yes, you'd be right. But the tendrils of this horrific practice are very much woven into the fabric of some of the biggest corporations we know today. These weren't just bystanders. We're talking about companies that directly profited from the enslavement of human beings. From banks financing slave ships to insurance companies underwriting human beings as property, the depth of their complicity is truly appalling. And the kicker? Many of these corporations are still around today, raking in massive profits. So buckle up as we unearth this hidden history, naming names and connecting the dots between the past and the present. Because understanding where these corporations came from is not about dwelling on the past. It's about demanding accountability and justice in the present. Our first stop takes us to the belly of Wall Street, home to the now defunct Lehman Brothers. Remember the 2008 financial crisis? Yeah, they were kind of a big deal in that whole debacle, but their story starts much earlier, steeped in the profits of the cotton trade and fueled by the forced labor of enslaved people. Aetna, the insurance giant, might promise you peace of mind today, but their past is anything but peaceful. Back then, they were busy insuring slave owners against the loss of their property. Yes, you heard that right. They literally treated human beings as commodities. J.P. Morgan Chase, a name synonymous with banking, also has a history entangled with slavery. Their predecessor banks accepted slaves as collateral for loans, so even the very institutions meant to foster economic growth were complicit in this system of oppression. Even life insurance wasn't safe from the taint of slavery. New York Life, a company that literally deals with life and death, saw fit to sell policies on enslaved people in the mid-1800s. Wachovia Corporation, now part of Wells Fargo, tries to project an image of community banking, but its roots are firmly planted in the soil of exploitation. They've admitted to their historical ties to slavery, acknowledging the role they played in perpetuating this barbaric system. Now let's hop across the pond to the UK, where we meet N.M. Rothschild and Sons Bank. This banking behemoth helped finance the British government's compensation to slave owners after abolition. Yes, you heard that right. They paid the enslavers, not the enslaved. Norfolk Southern, the railroad giant, connected the nation, but at what cost? Their predecessor companies relied on the forced labor of enslaved people to lay the very tracks that fueled American expansion. Even the news wasn't immune to the influence of slavery. E.W. Scripps and Gannett, major media companies, have historical ties to slavery through their founders, proving that the pen, or in this case the printing press, can indeed be mightier than the sword, especially when used to control narratives. Fleet Boston, now part of Bank of America, has a founder whose fortune was built on the backs of enslaved Africans. It's a stark reminder that the ghosts of slavery still haunt the halls of some of the most powerful financial institutions in the world. CSX, another major railroad company, also has a past intertwined with slavery. Their predecessor companies used enslaved labor to construct the railroads that connected the nation, reaping enormous profits from this system of forced labor. The Canadian National Railway Company might evoke images of scenic Canadian landscapes, but their history tells a different story. Their predecessor companies benefited from the use of enslaved labor, proving that the stain of slavery knows no borders. Brown Brothers Harriman, a major investment bank, might manage billions today, but their origins are steeped in the slave trade. They profited from the buying and selling of human beings, cementing their place in a dark chapter of financial history. Brooks Brothers, the epitome of American style, has a past that's far from fashionable. They sold clothing made from cotton produced by enslaved people, directly benefiting from the forced labor that fueled the Southern economy. Barclays Bank, a global financial giant, has deep-rooted connections to the transatlantic slave trade. They financed and facilitated this horrific industry, profiting from the suffering of millions. AIG, now a multinational insurance corporation, has a lineage that includes selling insurance policies on enslaved people. They treated human lives as mere commodities, turning a profit from the institution of slavery. Bank of America, one of the largest banks in the United States, acknowledges that some of its predecessor banks had direct ties to slavery. This admission, while a step in the right direction, underscores the pervasive influence of slavery on the financial institutions we interact with daily. So, there you have it. 16 corporations, some still thriving today, whose origins are steeped in the horrors of slavery. It's a sobering reminder that the past is never truly past, especially when its legacy continues to cast a long shadow over the present.